will start my selfie seminar on the topic demand forecasting techniques. What is demand forecasting techniques? As the name suggests, it is to predict how the demand is going to change, or basically, it is to forecast how the demand is going to change in the future. And we have various techniques to do it. And why do we need to do it? Well, we need to do it because it helps us understand and to make our business more profitable, and it makes us meet the consumer's needs better. And for this reason, we need to understand to predict or forecast the demand in the future. And we will look into the techniques right away. The first sub technique is the survey techniques, which is further comprised of the three techniques that are here. I'll quickly explain what is survey techniques. As the name suggests, it's basically techniques that involve taking a survey. As you might know, survey is basically we approach a specific set of people or a specific set of data, and we obtain the data from the people, and using that feedback, we try to predict how the demand is going to change. And the statistical techniques, instead of directly approaching the people, we handle numerical data and raw data. And some people argue that one of this method is better, but most people, I think, agree that a good mixture of these two techniques is what makes a business more profitable and more more suitable to meet the needs of the customer. So we'll first move on to the first technique, which is the market research. So the market research is one of the simple survey methods where we get the survey directly from the customer. So in this technique, we just say we send out customer forms or like survey forms, and they fill it out. And based on that data that we get directly from the customer, we try to predict how much the data is going to go. And I think we as customers from so many different companies might have gotten so many surveys that we have filled out. And basically, the reason why we're asked to fill out these surveys is for their company to understand the demand and how they can serve us better in the future. So as consumers, I think we've gone through a lot of surveys. That is one of the real life examples that we as customers and consumers have helped in, maybe unintentionally helped the companies in predicting the demand. And here we have the Salesforce opinion. Basically, here, instead of the company directly approaching the people, they go to the sales executives who are close to the customers but not consumers themselves. So salespeople understand the demand better than the other officials in the organization. So they're the closest to their customer base. So we take the opinions of the people who are working at the sales of the organization. And the last method in survey method technique is the Delphi method. And here I've shown a quick example. Something I'm passionate about is devices. And here you can see on the left side, as some of you might know, is Steve Jobs, who is the co-founder of the Apple company that we all use, the Apple iPhone, all that. Here is the first computer, the Macintosh, the first personal computer that was made. And to the right side, not many of us might know, he is John Scully, who was the co-founder and the vice president and president of Pepsi for a long time. Here, these two companies actually collaborated. The companies did not collaborate per se, but the Scully was appointed as one of the top executives in Apple. And when this happened, to predict, since Pepsi is a company that has not dealt with computers and electronics, so these two, when they merged, they had to hire a group of experts from both sides and experts from outside, external experts, to understand the demand and to predict the demand of the personal computer Macintosh. And this is basically what Delphi method is. In Delphi method, or an organization basically hires a group of external experts. Each expert generates a forecast based on their own market knowledge. So we get different opinions and different perspectives of the market knowledge from different experts. And this is what basically happened here. And here is our first statistical method. Statistic method, like I already mentioned, is just numerical data and we analyze it. This is one of the basic statistical methods, which is basically trend projection. And this is the simplest and most common demand forecasting technique, which is used by organizations. Trend projection uses the past sales data, like the data that we already have. We use that to predict how the future is going to be. And this is basically a trend line. So the demand keeps increasing over time. In this case, as you can see, it increases linearly. It's not necessary that it has to increase linearly all the time, but this is a simple example to understand the case better. So as you can see that the demand keeps increasing, and if you extend this, if you extrapolate this, you can see that as time increases, the demand for the product keeps going up, and which means the demand is still on rise. And as you maybe after a while it might go down or it might keep going up. That we don't know. We can only wait for the next set of data and keep predicting the future. This is the basic idea of trend projection. The barometric forecasting technique, but like in this case, we do not know the events. In the previous case, you can see that we do not know the events that might affect the sales. We just look at raw data, so we do not consider the events that might lead to extreme changes in demand. And a quick example for that, COVID. When COVID came, the demand for certain sets of products drastically increased. For example, the masks and the hand sanitizer demand for those two products went up crazy. But not a lot of people were able to predict that earlier because COVID itself was a sudden attack. But after the first phase of COVID, during the first phase, medical companies which were producing medical instruments such as ventilators, they were able to forecast that the demand for ventilators is going to go up because people affected by COVID usually, if it's in later stages of COVID or like severe cases, they needed ventilators. So they started producing more ventilators, and they were right. Most of the patients who were in severe cases of COVID, they did require ventilators, and this is basically barometric forecasting technique. In this case, it's based on the forecast is based on the basis of past events or the events occurring in the present. So it is done by analyzing statistical and economical indicators such as saving, investment, and income. This method can be implemented even in the absence of past data. So like I said, in the case of COVID, they did not have statistic data from the past. It was happening right then, and they were able to predict the future, and they were right. So that is the COVID is the event, and the increase in the demand for ventilators is the prediction. And the last one is econometric forecasting technique. And this technique combines past sales data with the factors that influence the demand to create a mathematical formula sort of a thing to make you basically formulate and to make the whole statistical data into something that can be made into a formula which predicts the future. So here is a simple definition: the use of statistical methods to develop theories or test existing hypotheses. And to develop theories, how can you develop theories? You have to have some numerical data, and you have to formulate them, put it in a formula, or you can actually test the existing hypotheses in economics or finance. So that's the definition given by one of the websites here, and this is also the acceptable definition according to most of the textbooks that I've checked. And so in this method, we basically predict the data using formula, and we make the formula, and we see if we test the hypotheses that already currently exist as well. So on that note, I would like to conclude my presentation. And this is Ajay Pawan, and I'm from the biotech department, and that is why I also talked about a lot of COVID situation and how much of an economical impact it has. And I would also like to mention that economics has a huge impact on how the drugs for any disease is being discovered, or the amount of money that we put in drug discovery or drug invention is economics plays a huge role. And in fact, that is one of the most important usage of demand forecasting techniques. On that note, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the seminar.